Pokémon Red and Green is a 1996 Game Boy game that started this Pokémon franchise, where you start with Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Charmander. Pokémon Yellow Edition is a 1998 Game Boy game, and it is a remake of the first game that was released, Green and Red. And this game you will play as Pikachu, and you will not be able to choose from the 3 starter Pokémon. Pokémon Gold and Silver is the second generation of Pokémon, and this game was released on 1999 on Game Boy Color and Game Boy Normal. And this game has a legendary Pokémon Ho-Oh and Lugia. Pokémon Crystal is a 2000 Game Boy Color game, and it is a remake for the Sword and Gold game, and this game will focus more on Suicon's story. Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire is a 2002 Game Boy Advance game, and this is the start of the 3rd generation for the Pokémon series, and this game will get a better version Emerald later on in 2003. Pokémon Life Green and Fire Red is a remake for the first Pokémon game, and this game was released on 2004 for the Game Boy Advance only. It is a completely enhanced version for the first game that was released on Game Boy. Pokémon Emerald is a 2004 Game Boy Advance game, and this is an enhanced game version of the Sapphire and Ruby, and the story on this game will focus more on Rayquaza. Pokémon Diamond and Pearl is the start for the 4th generation of the Pokémon, and this is the first game to be released on Nintendo DS. This game was released on North America on September 28, 2006. Pokemon Platinum is a 2008 Nintendo DS game, and this is an enhanced version for Diamond and Pearl games, and this game will focus more on the story of Giratina. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver is a completely new remade version for Soul Gold and Soul game that was released on Game Boy Color, and this game was released on Nintendo DS only on 2009. Pokemon Black and White is a 2010 Nintendo DS game and the start for the 5th generation of Pokemon games, and this game has a completely remade animation for the Pokemon battle and a completely new camera and a new location to visit on this game. Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 is the sequel for the 2010 Pokemon Black and White games, and this game was released on 2012 only on Nintendo DS, and this is also a 5th generation Pokemon game. Pokemon X and Y is the start for the 6th generation of the Pokemon series, and this is the first game to be released on Nintendo 3DS on 2013. This is a completely remade Pokemon for the animation of the Pokemon. This time Game Freak will use cel shading instead of 2D graphics, and this game was a huge step up for the Pokemon series. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is a 2014 Nintendo 3DS only game. This is a remake and a remade for the Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby games that were released on Game Boy Advance, and this game will use all the techniques and graphics from the X and Y series to give it a much more interesting and depth to the game. Pokémon Sun and Moon is a 2016 Nintendo 3DS game, and this is the start for the 7th generation of the Pokemon series. This time you will have to start your journey in an island. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is the enhanced version for the Pokemon Sun and Moon games, and this game was released on Nintendo 3DS on 2017. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu is the remake for the Pokemon Yellow games, and this game was released on 2018 for the Nintendo Switch. And this game has minimalized the combat system, and this time you don't fight Pokemon unless you are fighting a Pokemon trainer. Pokemon Sword and Shield is a 2019 Nintendo Switch game, and this is the start for the 8th generation of the Pokemon games. This time Pokemon will go open world, and you will go freely in the huge open world of the Pokemon games. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is a 2021 Nintendo Switch game, and this is a remake for the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl version for the Nintendo DS. And this game was released on 2021 only on Nintendo Switch.
You can initiate a Pokemon battle by throwing one of your partner's Pokeballs at or near a wild Pokemon. If a wild Pokemon does not see you approaching, and you strike them with one of your partner's Pokeballs.
Pokémon Legends Arceus is a 2022 Nintendo Switch only game, and this game is a huge step up for the Pokemon game. This time you will go back into the far historic moments of the Japan samurai era, and you will have to play in a very different world for the Pokemon series. This time is also a huge open world game where you have to catch all the Pokemon you want and fight against the mighty Arceus.
Power, but using them may delay your Pokemon's next turn, if an enemy can withstand one of your strong style moves.
Pokemon that have rare Terra types are more likely to appear in Terra raid battles. You can challenge Terra Pokemon in these battles with up to 3 other trainers.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a 2022 Nintendo Switch only game, and this is the start for the 8th generation of the Pokemon series. And like the Nintendo Switch game, this is also a huge open world game where you can freely move anywhere you want and anywhere you want to go. And this is a huge step up for the Pokemon game. Beside the limits of the graphics of the Switch game, but it was a pretty fun game. is an upcoming 25 video game developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokémon Company for the Nintendo Switch. Announced in February 2024, Legends Z-A is a part of the 9th generation of Pokémon video games. It takes place in Limio's city in the Kalos region, based on Paris, France, which originated in Pokémon X and Y that was released in 2013. Legends Z-A is the second Pokémon Legend game, following Legend Arceus that was released on 2022 for the Switch.